Welcome to Leadership Speaking Radio, the podcast for leaders and changemakers who want to learn how to communicate with impact, authenticity, and human connection to their peers, teams, and customers in order to build better relationships, better their bottom lines, and become better leaders. My name is Dr. Laura Penn. I'm the founder of the Leadership Speaking School, and I'm your host. Visit the website, theleadershipspeakingschool.com, to find out more about how we can support you to show up as the best version of yourself every time you speak. Now, let's get straight into our topic. Welcome back for another episode of Leadership Speaking Radio, everybody. It's so great to be back with you all. If you are watching on video or if you are listening in the ear, either way, I'm excited to be back with you because I've got another episode of important content to share with you here today. I'm still taking a little break from talking about content related to the craft of leadership communication from my new book, Nowhere Left to Hide: Leadership Speaking Skills That Every Leader of the Digital Age Must Know, available on Kindle, as you already know. Today, I want to riff. I'm in a riffing mood. I woke up riffing, and I riffed on the way here, driving in the car, and now I'm like so ready to continue my riff. What am I riffing about? Well, I've just been hired to deliver a opening keynote for a really large company in Northern Europe. And I will be talking to them about a theme that is kind of new on my radar, but in my radar, nevertheless. So my mind has just been like jumping and popping and spinning around thinking about this new topic, which is, get ready, drum roll, resilience in communication. Aha. Now, just saying those words, honestly, it makes my mouth water. I can feel it. There's like more saliva in my mouth right now because there's something about those words put together that is so on and so relevant for the time that we are living in. And I love the challenge of creating this bespoke keynote for this cohort of 200 leaders who are coming together for a leadership day. And I'm going to set them off and begin their journey of that leadership day with this keynote. So all these thoughts are coming into my mind, and you get the privilege of being inside my riffing mind right now. So I don't know what's going to happen in this episode, but let's just see. Let's do some definitions first. Let's define the word resilience. Okay, so I looked it up. And in the Collins Online Dictionary, and I'm going to read the words here that they say, resilience means the capacity to withstand or to recover quickly from difficulties. Toughness. Okay, so we have the meaning of resilience. Now let's get the meaning for communication, shall we? Not the meaning per se. I want to go nerdier than that. I want the root of the origin of the word communication, which is Latin, and the root is communicatio. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Maybe it's communicatio. Either way, that's the root, and this means to share or to impart. Now, we're going to go another layer into this Latin for a moment. Are you ready? The munus, the munus part is a further root of the word communicatio, and this means a gift or to give. Wow, munus. Who knew? Okay, so we are talking about sharing and imparting. We are talking about a gift or to give. That's what communication is. So what happens if we marry the word resilience with communication and they have a baby? That's resilience in communication. What does that look like? This is me still riffing, guys, all right? So bear with me. Resilience in communication. Okay, so does this mean that you are resilient in you going from meeting to meeting and it's exhausting to communicate with other people and you're trying to survive and thrive. Is that kind of resilience? Because if that's the case, I talked about that in episode number 56, which I called I Don't Have Time. But or are we talking about another kind of resilience? In resilience of communication, meaning the capacity to stay present and to maintain the use of craft in leadership communication with the challenge of too much work or too many obligations. How about them apples? So that's me. I was just reading that from a little piece of paper that I have in front of me because I kind of like the way that sounds and feels. I think that's how I want to go when I talk about resilience in communication, that it's the capacity to stay present and to maintain use of the craft. Now, shall we go deeper? Shall we keep this riff going? In our busy worlds with overscheduled schedules and emails in our inboxes and invitations to communicate to everybody and their brother and sister on every platform conceivable, it's not easy to be resilient. It's almost a recipe for burnout and crashing and having an overwhelm because of the overload. So in this busy landscape of leaders and teams, how do you even give a thought to thinking about communication? Because all you're trying to do is survive with your day-to-day communication, going from meeting to meeting, etc. So how do you hold on to quality? How do you maintain yourself as a listening, active, participatory person when you are communicating with others, when all you want to do is go lay down and take a nap? So how do you do that? And I want to riff about some thoughts, some potential solutions. Now, go back to episode 56 to hear what I have to say about how you survive in meetings, that are scheduled one after another related to communication. I don't really want to repeat a lot there that I had there. But I want to talk about something else. I want to talk about this element of the craft that I talked about and being present that I mentioned in this new definition or in this new kind of description of what I mean by resilience in communication. So what this means to me is that if you know craft, if you have skills related to how to communicate with impact, authenticity, and human connection, if you know these skills well, then you should be able to lean into this skill set in moments of intense work and adversity. That these skills become your kind of go-to resources that you use. And I understand that most people don't have these skills. Hence, me teaching them to you here in this podcast and in my master classes and in my 3-day leadership program called Leadership Speaking Core, and of course through my keynotes. But when I think about kind of which craft tools or resources would be most needed or beneficial in this situation, I think about the idea of what firefighters have to go through, which is that they walk into chaos in every context of their work. And the modus operandi of a firefighter is always bring a tool that you can use for many different purposes. So if we think like that for a moment about craft and leadership communication and resilience, okay, what tool is needed that can be used for many different things for the purpose of communicating effectively and getting through the chaos, as it were? We have a couple of options. The first option is the tool of presence. You know I love me some presence. And you know there are plenty of episodes in the library of leadership speaking radio episodes that talk about presence. So how does presence serve as this multi-use tool? Well, presence serves as a tool even before the chaos, as it were, the overwhelm, the intensity, the hard, back-to-back work that we're talking about. Presence comes into use immediately before you even start all that, before you're in the meeting, before you open your mouth to speak. It's a way of preparing your body. It's a mindset. It's an embodied state. And knowing how to get into this embodied state is kind of like you putting on your, for lack of a better word, armor. And I don't mean armor as in, blocking yourself and not having people access you, not being accessible to people. I mean armor in the sense of living through this moment and being intact. So establishing how you want to emit your energy and how you want to walk into that room if it's a live meeting, or how you want to show up in that room if it's a virtual meeting when you click that button to get on camera. This state of presence that you are in is the first line of defense to your resilience. So this is an interesting thing, to use presence as your master tool before you even start your talk. And of course, this extends to when you are communicating, to stay in your state of presence, to stay accessible, at the ready, aware, alert, listening. Yeah? And you remember the different types of presence: the freeze, fight, or flight. The first circle, the freeze response, holding the breath, right? Not being present outside of yourself. And then the fight or flight response, the third circle presence, to use Patsy Rodenberg's language, which is the push, the too much, the overwhelm. The fight or flight version, which is taking in a lot of breath and spraying yourself out energetically to your audience. Neither of those ways of communication, neither of those ways of presence are effective for you meeting your audience where they are. And neither of those forms of presence are effective for you to stay resilient as a communicator. You will leak energy in both of those cases. You will leak energy by going inside and being tense. Tension is the enemy of connection, but tension takes energy. So your body is burning energy and internal resources to have you freeze and contract all your muscles. You are also wasting and leaking energy when you're in the flight or fight response. Of course, needless to say, if you're pushing yourself out and spraying yourself everywhere, you're exhausted after that interaction. That doesn't help your resilience either. So being present, being focused, channeling your energy forward, moving in the direction of connection. Ooh, I got to make that t-shirt. Direction of connection. Mental note. That is a way to be resilient. And you might still be asking yourself the question, yeah, but how do I do that? Well, again, I can't teach you how to be present in a podcast. I can only teach you what the different definitions of presence are. To learn how to be present is work with embodiment. So we need to be in the same room together for me to teach you this. But needless to say, this toolbox of understanding how to move your presence into this state of being fully connected inside so that you can be fully connected outside, that is a recipe for resilience in communication. So that is a master tool in and of itself that can be used with every opportunity. Again, before you even start talking, while you start talking, and here's a winner, even after you're done talking. So in every stage, beginning, middle, and end of that communication. How do you use presence in the end? You recover, you restore, and you transition. Go to episode 56 to hear more about that. Okay, so far I'm kind of liking this super tool of presence as a master tool in the craft to use in order to be resilient in communication. Is there another tool? Yes. There's another tool, which I'm going to give you a clue, is the red thread to leadership communication. Do you remember what that was? Any guesses? Yeah, it's not about you, it's about your audience. If you guess that, you get the gold star from the teacher today. Yeah, this is another way to fiddle with your focus so that you can preserve yourself and be resilient in communication by not making it about yourself, but by making it about the audience. By being in authentic service to them and delivering content and personal energy so that they benefit. So that you talk about things that are relevant and interesting to your audiences. And so that you say it in a way that has gravitas, that stays in the room and that enters like that arrow that goes into the bullseye. This is another tool. And it's a powerful one in the work of this craft, right? It's the red thread of this craft that I'm sharing with you. So what does that look like in a typical conversation presentation with meetings that you are running in a working day, or higher stakes talks that you are delivering in front of your peers, teams, and customers? It looks like in the preparation phase, remember this from other episodes, in the content bucket, you've created content that serves their needs and interests. You've done that audience evaluation survey, so you know who's in your audience. And you have created that intention, so you know what you want your audience to feel as a result of listening to your talk. And you've chosen anecdotes and narrative and stories, and you've played with words. You've done everything you're supposed to do in the content bucket to create meaning for those audiences. And then, of course, in the performance of that content, you are making it about the audience, not just in what you're saying, but in how you're saying it. So you're using your voice, you're using your body, you're using your presence to create authentic connections with your audiences. Ooh, I like this riff. Yeah, so there's another super tool, guys. Your mindset of thinking about it's not about me, it's about my audience. This is another way for you to instill resilience in communication. Because when you make it about other people and serving their needs and interests, you get out of your own way. You get out of that little voice in your head that's like, yeah, but I feel tired. Oh, I don't want to do this anymore. Oh, I'm done. Right? You get out of your way and you get into serving others. And it's this amazing thing that happens with human beings because we are designed for this. We are designed to serve others. We are designed to be in communities. We are designed to create trust and engagement and participation with the other humans around us. So it becomes this sort of self-fulfilling prophecy. Our bodies are energized by this, and hormones flow through our bloodstream, rewarding us for giving, rewarding us for creating this nurturing, mutualistic relationship. Wow. Okay, so there's another tool in the tool belt to use in this situation of overwhelm, of there being too many opportunities for communication that you have to get through, and for you to operate in a state of resilience. Are you with me so far? We've talked about presence as one of these tools, and now we've talked about the mindset of it's not about you, it's about your audience. Is there another one? Yes, there's one more. Yeah. It's your body. Now, you know me and bodies. I 100% believe that you cannot be an effective communicator, leadership communicator, if you are disassociated from your body. If you are a talking head and that's all there is, forget about it. There's no craft involved in that. There's no connection involved in that. You're not connected to yourself. So how can you be connected to other people, right? So your body is this powerhouse, literally a powerhouse, your resource, your asset, your ally in communication. Your body's got your back. I love that pun. I hope you get the pun because it's a rather good one. And it's got your back in this context of being resilient. Because when you are active in your body, you are active in your mind. They go together. They're connected. Who knew? And it's really important work. And I love doing this work in Leadership Speaking Core, my 3-day program for 6 leaders when they come to the Leadership Speaking School HQ in Switzerland. And we work from head to toe about all of the things related to craft, about the whole toolbox. And yeah, we have to do a lot of work on the body because the body of most busy professionals in business is forgotten about, neglected, and not used in communication. We're sitting down most of the time now in communication. So, or we're showing up as a floating head on a computer screen. Where's the body? And part of my evangelism is to bring the body back into communication. And here it is, in this example even. When you bring the body in, you bring in everything else. You bring in your presence, you're bringing your breath, you're bringing your voice, you're bringing connection. So how can you use your body to be more resilient? You activate the body. Maybe you're standing up instead of sitting down, okay? Maybe you're in those moments of transition that I talked about in the last episode, in episode number 56, of recovering between meetings. Maybe you're dancing. Or if you're not dancing, maybe you're moving around the room. But I love Gabrielle Roth's description of a dancer, by the way. If you're thinking, I'm not a dancer. Gabrielle Roth, an extraordinary dancer and founder of the 5 Rhythms method of movement. She said, if you have a body, you're a dancer. So all of that is relevant to what I'm talking about here. Dancing, moving, getting your groove on, tuning into your feet, getting out of your head and into your feet. So this is really important, that you are moving your body this way in the transitions or in the warm-up before you speak. Does this make sense so far? Yes. So this is something that you can activate without any bells and whistles. It's as easy as moving around. It's as easy as standing up. And it's as easy as giving yourself permission to return to your bones so that your body can support you and help to make you more resilient in your communication. So that is the 3rd tool. So now we've got 3 to choose from. Presence. It's not about you, it's about your audience. Harnessing the power of your body. Ideally, you're using all 3 because all 3 of them support each other and they work together to bring out the best version of you in a state where you need to be resilient and staying in the game. But if I had to choose only one, it would probably be, especially if you haven't been trained by me, if you haven't done this deeper embodied work that I do, it would have to be the second one, which is the mindset. That it's not about you, it's about your audience. Because this is something everybody can do. This is a switcheroo in your thinking. This is a different way to show up in how you think about your communication. By serving others, not serving yourself. You get energy when you give energy. And if you've been trained by me, I would probably choose the presence one. Because presence will tap into the body one. And that is the superpower. Like that opens all doors when you understand how to use your own presence in any communication scenario. Talk about resilience. I mean, resilience with a capital R in this case. So there we are. Wow, we have riffed together. And I hope I've made sense because this has been a stream of consciousness kind of podcast episode. Thank you for giving me the platform to think out loud. But of course, I hope that in doing this riff and thinking out loud, you've been able to harvest something valuable for yourself. Because maybe you're one of these people who has a schedule that looks crazy. You've got one meeting after another. You're trying to survive and you just can't thrive. And you need to find ways to be resilient in communication. So here's some ideas for you. Try them out. Let me know how it goes. You can contact me, by the way, folks. On my website, theleadershipspeakingschool.com, there's a little contact form there. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear how this information that I'm sharing with you is being received. How are you using it? What is happening in your world when you tune in and plug in to the resources that I'm sharing with you? Or what questions do you have as a follow-up to some of the podcast episodes that you've been listening to recently? Contact me there. So that's what we can do together. I want to hear from you and really get a sense from how all this is going down for you. All right? But let me leave this podcast episode now and close it up. I hope that you have enjoyed this episode as much as I have enjoyed delivering it. Subscribe now to Leadership Speaking Radio to be sure not to miss an episode. And don't forget to visit the website, theleadershipspeakingschool.com, to learn more about how we can support you to show up as the best version of yourself every time that you communicate with your peers, teams, and customers. And if you're enjoying this show, go ahead and recommend us to your friends and colleagues. Give us a 5-star rating for other people to find this beautiful podcast. I'm so proud of this podcast, guys, and I hope it's giving you value. And if it is, celebrate us by giving us this high review so other people can find it. All right? So that's all for now. I look forward to the next time we speak. Take care of yourselves. Thrive as much as you can, not just survive. And remember that communication is supposed to feel good. I'll talk to you next time. Thanks for listening.